Welcome to the bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for being a strong supporter of this channel. I have missed you for the last 2 days. As you know, for the last 2 weeks, I've been tight, really for me. I was in the coast the other week. Then I came back, then I traveled to Western for our match project. So I came back and I realized, the body could not allow me to continue. So I needed to take a backseat kidogo. Yeah, I've not been well. So many things happened over the weekend. Yeah, quite a number of people have getting into my inbox, Kevin, what's up? But thank you, I'm fine. Yes, I'm fine. Over the weekend, the news of the moment is the hostility that met Raila Odinga in the Kisii land few days after the Ruto deal. I hold my position that this should be a wake-up call to the political elite to read the people's mood. For a minute, the intelligence must kick out the political advisors around the presidency and serve the presidency the raw truth. People are hungry. And people are angry. They're hungry and angry. I've reviewed that video, watched that video several times. And one question, I'm one person who don't tolerate intolerance. I've always been saying, usipige mtu, it doesn't augur well. Now, when you look at that heckling, that is an organic heckling. Anyone telling Raila Odinga and telling the president that so and so was behind it, that person, according to me, is lying. If you look at the way it started, in fact, they only started heckling when Raila was talking there. And the situation was very hostile because I even realized the Kisii governor read the mood and started talking about the cost of living. They were there for a football event of giving some kits to Shabana. But the people could hear none of that. And why it is a big worry for Raila Odinga, you need to understand that even the president was going through this sometime and have suffered this. Now, Raila Odinga can be heckled more often compared to the president. He has a lean security detail with a low profile compared to the presidency. The presidency, on the other side, is the most protected institution in the country. What happened in Kisii is a warning. Kenyans will start flocking Raila Odinga's events and pass the message. But something that is also happening, the delicate balance in it, the traditional Raila base, Raila lose the traditional base, since people will want to use that platform to pass a message to the president. And there is a message that the people are passing to the president. The message is clear. We don't want anything to do with President Ruto. There is something that Rigathi says, and I've realized people ignore it, but that is it. Rigathi, in one of the interviews, Rigathi said, we don't have a problem with Raila. Even if Raila MPs impeached me, I don't have a president with Raila. The only person we have a president is Ruto. And in fact, this is it. Ruto can even retain second term by endorsing another candidate, probably. Because the narrow of everything, if you narrow everything, it goes back to, we don't want William Ruto. Now, in this podcast, I will demonstrate to you why Raila's political mobility with this hostile reception is a big risk to this country. It's a big risk. And I believe the intelligence bosses must act swiftly to this. A close look at reactions after the Kisii incident. I am wondering for a minute whether DCI has not arrested these crooked thugs that are preaching tribal, ethnic threats after that.
Wakisii, unaona hiyo siasa mmeanza. Raila Odinga ndiye anakuanga na hiyo siasa chafu mnapiga. Naona, acheni niwaambie ukweli. Hizo kura zenyu 1800 zenye mnatishia nao watu ati mnataka kuweka Matiang'i president. Hakuna pahali Matiang'i anaweza kuwa president hapa kama mjashikana na tribe nyingine. Naona, hawezi kuwa huyu Raila Odinga vitu zenye amefanya hapa Kenya. Huyo Matiang'i hata hajafika hata quarter. Haezi. Na mnaona hiyo kitu watu wa Mlima wanadhani hiyo kuvuruga watu ndio itarudisha uongozi Mlima. Hakuna uongozi yenye narudisha Mlima. 2027 Ruto anashinda clean. Kitu yenye Raila na Ruto wanafanya wanataka ku make peace Kenya, kazi ifanyike. Election tupatane 2027. Na walai kitu ingefanyikia huyo Raila Odinga. Sasa hiyo Kisii ingekuwa imeshapelekwa huko Tanzania. Na hiyo ni warning.
Yes, Wakisii. Hiyo game mmeanza, hamtamaliza. Hiyo game tunaicheza vizuri sana. Nataka kuambia ndugu zangu kutoka Kisii, lazima mstop hiyo tabia yenu. Na mkiendelea tunawaambia sisi tutajua vile tutadili na nyinyi. Kwanza, Kisumu, Turongo, Kisii, magari ni zenyu. Hizo magari tunazichoma zote, na kuna gari kutoka Kisii itakuwa inaingia Kisumu. Kama hiyo ndio mnataka tuendelee na hiyo. Na kuna gari itatoka Nairobi inaenda Kisii. Tutashughulikia hizo magari vizuri sana. Na kama hiyo mchezo umeanza, tutaifanya vizuri kuwashinda. So
I don't know. These thugs need to be, that is what you call it. You see, what is wrong is wrong. You don't sugarcoat it. These thugs need to be arrested. They need to be arrested. President was heckled in Isiolo. President Ruto was heckled in Isiolo. Did you hear someone from Kalenjin land saying, you guys from Isiolo, you are heckling the president? The president was heckled in Embu. Did we take such? The president has been heckled all over the country. So people posturing as Raila Mania should not be allowed to get away with such. Because, and I'm sharing this, I shared this here intentionally because this is what the country must condemn. The country cannot take that direction. We cannot take that direction. And such characters should not be allowed to get away with such sentiments. There's so many factors that were at play. With Matiang'i in the question, how does these sentiments give Ruto the votes needed from such a region? In fact, Raila must be careful because I can tell you, the next time he will also hold another event in another place, he might face the same. Are these thugs going to threaten anyone who is going to heckle? Are they going to succeed in doing that? Why should they be allowed to sit somewhere and make such sentiments? Because of Raila. And things are not looking good. I listened to Babu Owino's statement. He said, and that is why I'm saying it's a big risk, because there is a split of everything. Babu was speaking in Bunge la Wananchi. I think that was in Jacaranda. And he made it clear, I respect Baba, but I'm not following him there. I have my own mind, I have my own head, so I choose what I'm going to take.
Nimekaa na mzee sana. Hakuna MP yote anajua mzee kunishinda. Wacheni niwaambie. Hakuna. Wenye wanaambia ati babu hatakwi. Mimi pia sitaki nitakwe. Siasa ni interest. Kutakwa nitaenda kwa bibi anitaki. Hapo ndio penye mapenzi iko. Siasa haina mapenzi. Siasa ina interest. Na ikikuja kwa mapenzi nikuje nionyeshe watu wangu wa ground mapenzi. Lakini hakuna mjumbe yeyote. Hakuna mwenye anajua Raila Amolo Odinga kushinda Babu Owino. Kwa sababu mimi najua time yenye nimespend na yeye, mambo yenye nimeongea na yeye. Mbona baba mwenyewe amjaisikia anasema ati hataki babu? Mbona inatoka tu kwa watu? Ashaisimama hivi anaongea na hutawahi sikia. Na hutawahi sikia. Kwa sababu anajua huyo kijana wangu, mimi najua penye yuko. Bwana, ikikuja the first 3 most popular people in this country ni baba. Babu wako top 3. Sitaki kuita jina Zakayo hapa kwa sababu ground imechafuka yake. Si ni sawa? So baba tunampatia heshima na heshima. Lakini mimi pia niko na akili. Mimi nilitoka Nyalenda nilikuja Nairobi bwana. Na nikashuka ambassador. Wenye nilishuka ambassador, niliambia mamangu tarudi nyumbani in 2 ways. One ilikuwa kwa sanduku ya maiti, nyingine ilikuwa kwa nikiendesha gari. Hiyo ndio jambo niliwacha nayo mamangu. Kwa hivyo hii mambo ati mtu ananibebea akili, hakuna mwenye anaweza nibebea akili. Heshima itakuwa, lakini akili yangu itabaki hivyo. Si mimi ni wakili, si mimi ni actuary, si mimi ni daktari. Wewe umechaguliwa sana. Hujachaguliwa, si unaishi. Hata kama sichaguliwa nitaishi. Ama vipi? Si maisha lazima iendelee. Lakini kama kitu ni mbaya, hatuta support. Kwa sababu kitu ni mbaya, tunasema lazima ufuate. Mimi mtu mwenye nilikuwa nafuata, kama kichwa yangu iko kwa chini, kwa vumbi, kwa matope, ni baba Raila Amolo Odinga. Baba kama ameshatoka hapo, bwana, kuna mwenye anaweza kufuata tena blindly. Hao wengine wanifuate. Hao wanifuate. Kama ni popularity, kuna hao nani amenishinda na popularity hapo? Kama ni akili, nani amenishinda na akili hapo? Sasa nifuate mtu mwenye nimeshinda na akili. Nifuate mtu mwenye nimeshinda na watu, popularity. Hao wanifuate bwana. Tuache mchezo. Na mimi naisema kwa sababu mimi uchaguzi yangu si ni Embakasi. Kama ni kunoma, sinarudi tu hapa, bado nitaingia hapa report. Kama ni kunoma, narudi tu hapa, naweka kichwa chini, another 5 years, hiyo pepo mbaya inapita, tena natoka tu kazi za hizo. Kazi inaendelea.
I saw Ruto campaigning even in Nairobi. If you want to know, the whole thing is thick and very thick. It's very thick. Ruto was campaigning in Nairobi and the ODM MPs kept off. But in KICC, they had pledged. Ruto said, so we'll move together in Nairobi in campaign. President was in, even today is in Nairobi. I'm going to analyze that next. But he's not there with the ODM MPs. They have kept off because they know that the president is facing some hostility and they don't want to interact. The state operatives are quiet about the Kisii incident. I've seen some few leaders here and there saying we condemn. But I understand the heckling was organic, contrary to reports of people who would want to link, some local leaders to it. I think I listened to Onyonka talking about this.
I was, of course.
And that was not discussed?
No, not at all. It's only that the CS and my brother also discussed the fact they wish that the community joins the broad-based government and everything. And we said that is not what we went to discuss.
Was a vote taken on anything?
No. No, there was no vote. It was
Okay.
Just, yeah.
Okay. You're also denying that you're involved in Kisii, the heckling of Raila Odinga.
Surely, Sam, you've known me coming to the studio here, I think, for the last, I can't remember the number of years. Have you ever had or seen an incident where I have engaged, participated in any violent crimes? Or I've tried...
Actually, my concern is you're denying.
Yes.
Who accused you?
No, I was accused by a few guys. If you go to social media, you'll see people like Alai, the crazy dogs of the team.
Yeah.
On the other side saying we are just destitute and we should leave ODM. How dare we challenge what the Almighty has decided? And we said, it's not.
Okay.
I mean,
don't you think you're giving them prominence by responding to those allegations?
For 2 days, it's not a bad idea for them to talk about me.
Okay, all right.
But it had no value.
All right, Senator Sigei.
The demonstrations and the heckling which took place, Sami, that crowd is so huge. For you to mobilize them, which means you give them money. Some, you know, I have no money to give people to go and heckle anybody.
All right.
Yeah.
And this is what we are saying. Those telling Raila and state that, you know, so-and-so was behind it, those are escapists. They are escaping the reality. Some of these things we've been saying that, oh, Odinga is right to make this decision, but this is not the right decision now. It is not the right decision. It doesn't align even with what the party believes in. It doesn't even align with you cannot make that decision now. It's not the best as at the moment. And we feel that something really, really ought to be done. Something ought to be done. Let me tell you, today, if Odinga will call a rally in CBD, Nairobi here, and start talking about, sounding like supporting Ruto, the crowd will break in Raila must go chants. So I want you to imagine of a Raila must go and a Ruto must go somewhere. So Ruto and Raila have been put at the same space. Tally the incidents, the hostility Raila is facing, and the reception of Rigathi in Kajiado.
Kitegera mjambo. Kitegera hoi. Kitegera hoi. Kitegera mjambo. Hamjambo tena. Rigiji amefika hapa mwenyewe. Leo ni leo, musema kesho ni. Leo ni leo, musema kesho ni. Watu ya Kitengela, wacha tusikizane. Mimi nimefika hapa, watu ya Kitengela, tusikizane. Safari ya kufukuza Kasongo aende nyumbani itaanza hapa Kitengela. Kitengela oi! Kitengela oi!
And compare the two. You'll make that comparison here and understand what we are saying is someone should not lie to Raila. Someone should not lie to the president, you know, leader X, leader Y. No. What is happening is watu wamekasirika. And that is it. You know, there is no other way around it. There is no corners around it. That is the naked truth. So I understand that this heckling is really cracking the NIS boss head. Because principally these three factors. It's a big worry to the NIS men, because the emerging wave of ethnic profiling by a section of Raila Mania, and I insist, those characters needs to be silenced. Those characters, the video that I've played to you, those fellows must be arrested, and they must not be allowed to get away with that. Because today you allow them to get away with it, the next day Raila will be heckled in person in another area, it will stay the same. And in fact, even Raila himself and Raila Sacco should be able, because I know Raila Sacco can know those people. Those people are the traditional ODM manias. They can, if Raila wants to get them, Raila can get them and tell them, stop that. So if you threaten, ujinga, Uhuru alisema sometimes ujinga ni mingi sana kwa hii nchi. Ujinga ni mingi sana. Diminishing of Raila popularity is a big worry to President Ruto, because Raila has been doubted has been touted as the stabilizer. So when the Gen Z went to the protest, it had to take Raila coming into the picture to silence the protest. So I want you to imagine today there is the 2024 like protest. A protest breaks in the country like in that magnitude. Who is going to call the country to order? Former President Uhuru Kenyatta or who? Who is going to call the country to order? Because the man who is supposed to call the country to order, the man who is supposed to pull the button to the country to go silent, is the one now who is whose popularity is diminishing. If you remember last time, during that Gen Z protest, Kisii was leading. Several days, Kisii was ahead. Kisii was breaking the record. And now, the same region is heckling the president and is breaking Raila. And politics is about perception. I noticed some 100 characters, 200 characters in Gusiland. But that information is getting in the villages. And the people in the villages now understand, aliongea vibaya kuhusu Matiang'i. And now, that perception is building. For now, there is a perception that Raila is not wanted in Kisii, that Raila's population in Kisii is down. That perception is there. You may not rub it off today or tomorrow. That perception is there. And that is why the diminishing wave of Raila popularity is there. And it's not something that will be taken lightly. Raila will likely surrender on Ruto endorsement due to public pressure. I tell you this. I heard a thing, Majimbo Kalasinga saying it, that, Raila we ujui. He will likely cede ground and say, no, I'm not going to take that direction. And that will be the biggest blow. So I believe the country need to gather more lessons instead of name calling and profiling and letting characters like the ones I've just played in that video to make such sentiments. The country must be sober enough. And there is something that I keep on saying in this podcast. I will keep on repeating because that is what we believe on, and that is the standpoint of the Bold podcast. That as much as in 2027, you want to mobilize around the ethnic groupings, but you must also be alive to the fact that the country is evolving. And the pertinent issues that are affecting the country is going to have a significant impact on what's going on. Because as time goes, the country is also ushering a new crop of voters. The young people that have participated in the governance issues in the country. The political participation of the young people is high. So as you want to bury your head in the tribal groupings, I normally say here, there is no tribal caves for Kenyans. Kenyans don't live on tribal caves. No. The country must be fixed. And the more you focus on what you promise and deliver, that is the best. All the others are sideshows. Thank you, guys. This is a snippet of what we did in Kakamega for those who had missed. Thank you.
We thank you so much for this effort. At least Shosho now have a smile on her face. She's going to sleep where there is door and window. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kevin and your group. May God bless you.
Guys, this is where Dani, this is the house that I was showing you. This is the house Dani alikuwa anaishi. So ukiona hii nyumba, it was not even in a good place. So this is how it was. So we've moved her from this house to this one. So this is the house we just did. And yeah, so this is the one we did for Dani, and we've moved her to this house. Aliingia, if you check inside, already ameweka viti, and we've not even done the door. She said immediately this house was done, akasema yeye anaingia. We are planning to put the door today, but she's already there.
Okay, dear friends, this is the second house. As you can see, there is door, there is window. Now at least Mama can sleep in a warm place. Thank you so much, Kevin and your group, for supporting. Finally, this is the third house. As you can see, Mama and grandchildren are standing. Thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you so much for remembering this old woman. At least she now has a smile on her face. May God bless you people. We love you so much. Be blessed.